The planet Aridion 9 was aflame. Not metaphorically, literal firestorms ravaged the surface, the result of an unexpected attack by the marauding Karthak fleet. I had arrived on the planet as part of a reconnaissance mission for the Interstellar Alliance, expecting to document troop movements and evaluate defense protocols. I did not expect to find myself face to face with the alien queen herself, trapped in the inferno of her own palace. Queen Lysira had always been a legend. Tales of her unmatched combat prowess, her strategic brilliance, and her radiant, otherworldly beauty circulated across the galaxies. Yet nothing in the history files prepared me for the reality of her presence. She was taller than any human I had seen, her crystalline armor reflecting the flickering flames around us, her violet eyes glimmering with equal parts determination and fear. The Karthak ambush was swift and merciless. Energy cannons tore through the palace's outer defenses, and walls crumbled under the assault. Guards fell, and the queen's retinue was scattered. I had been observing from a nearby ridge, reporting coordinates when I saw her, trapped beneath a collapsing energy barrier, the plasma from the attack searing the floor around her. I didn't think. I ran. The heat was unbearable, yet adrenaline pushed me forward. Debris fell, and flames licked the edges of the palace, turning the corridor into a blazing tunnel. I reached her just as a piece of the ceiling threatened to crush her. Without hesitation, I lifted her into my arms, feeling the weight of both her body and the intensity of the situation. "You dare," she began, her voice carrying the authority of a monarch even in panic. "You are not trained for this. Step back." "I can't," I said, straining against the heat and debris. "We don't have time." Her crystalline armor scorched slightly where it made contact with the molten floor, and she hissed. Yet, despite the flames and fear, there was a strange softness in her gaze, an acknowledgement, perhaps even a spark of trust, that I had earned in the heat of chaos. I sprinted through the corridors, dodging falling debris and unstable plasma bursts. Every step was a calculated risk. My lungs burned, and sweat streamed down my face, but I held her securely, keeping her away from the flames while finding the path to safety. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we reached the palace's central exit, a platform that extended over the city, where emergency teleportation pods were stationed. The firestorm had destroyed most of the surrounding infrastructure, but one pod remained operational. I set her down and activated it. "You saved me," she said, voice low, almost uncharacteristically quiet. Her hair, normally perfectly arranged even under combat conditions, was singed at the tips. Her armor bore scorches from the heat. And yet, despite all this, she looked magnificent, a queen even in the midst of devastation. "You're welcome," I replied, trying to catch my breath. "But we're not out of danger yet." The pod hummed and swirled with energy, and we were transported just outside the city, landing on a safe plateau. Around us, the battle raged on, but the immediate threat to Lysira had passed. She stood, brushing off debris, her patterns flickering faintly, a sign of emotional turbulence in her species. "You carried me," she said finally, her violet eyes locking onto mine. "Through fire. Through destruction. You risked your life for mine." "I did what anyone would," I said, though the truth was more complicated. In that moment, I hadn't considered duty or expectation, I had acted on instinct. And now, seeing her alive, seeing the trust and intensity in her gaze, I understood why instinct had chosen action over caution. Her expression softened, and a strange, almost shy smile appeared on her face. "You are reckless," she said, shaking her head. "And yet, perhaps that is why you are the only one I can rely on." I stepped closer, unsure how to interpret the vulnerability hidden beneath her regal exterior. "It's not recklessness. I paused. "It's just what needed to be done. You're the queen. You lead millions. No one else could bear this weight." Her patterns brightened, pulsing in golden hues, a sign of high emotional resonance. And yet, you risked everything for me personally. Not for duty, not for allegiance. For me. I nodded. Yes. For you. The silence that followed was thick, but not uncomfortable. Around us, the world burned, and yet in that moment, nothing mattered but the two of us. Her gaze lingered, intense and penetrating, and I felt an almost tangible connection, a bridge forming between our beings that transcended species and circumstance. Then, she spoke words I could hardly comprehend. You carried me through fire. You saved me when none else could. You have proven your courage, your loyalty, and your heart. You are mine. My husband, from this moment forward. I froze, my mind struggling to process her declaration. Husband. In all my life, I had never imagined that I would hear such words, and certainly not from the legendary alien queen herself. What? I stammered, unsure how to respond to the magnitude of what she had just said. Her gaze did not waver. You are mine, she repeated, her voice steady and commanding. The bond we share in this moment is unbreakable. You risked yourself for me. That alone is enough to bind us. The realization struck me fully, the weight, the honor, the responsibility. I had saved a queen, yes, but in doing so, I had also entered a covenant of life, loyalty, and love that spanned beyond my comprehension. If you truly mean that, I said slowly, then I accept. I will be by your side. Her patterns flared, cascading in radiant gold and violet. She stepped closer, and for a brief moment, I saw not the queen who commanded armies, but the individual who had risked everything for her people and now trusted me with her life and heart. The following days were a blur of recovery and strategy. The Carthag fleet had been temporarily repelled, but the palace remained in ruins. Lysira worked tirelessly, her people inspired by her resilience. And I, now more than merely a visitor or soldier, stood by her side, not as a subordinate, but as her declared mate, her partner in both battle and life. We trained together, strategized together, and slowly, amidst the reconstruction and chaos, our bond deepened. I learned the nuances of her culture, her expectations, and the delicate diplomacy required to lead a civilization. She, in turn, began to trust me not just with her life, but with her thoughts, her doubts, her moments of vulnerability. One evening, as we stood atop the highest spire of the newly fortified palace, watching the twin suns set over the scorched landscape, she spoke quietly. I did not expect to find trust, or companionship, in the midst of flames. You found both, I replied softly, turning to meet her gaze. And so did I. Her hand brushed against mine, tentative at first, then firmer, affirming the bond that had formed in the crucible of battle. Together, she said, we will rebuild. And we will face whatever comes next, not as queen and soldier, but as partners, as equals, as family. I smiled, feeling the weight of destiny settle comfortably on my shoulders. Together, I agreed. The galaxy remained vast and dangerous, but in that moment, I knew that courage, loyalty, and love could forge bonds stronger than any firestorm, any fleet, any weapon. And as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, I understood that my life and Lysira's had been irrevocably intertwined. Through fire, through battle, and through the declaration of a queen's heart, we had found something extraordinary, a connection that transcended species, circumstance, and the chaos of war. In saving her, I had discovered not only bravery, but the profound truth that love, honor, and trust could emerge even in the most harrowing of moments. And somewhere in the heart of the alien palace, amidst the ruins and the slowly rebuilding city, the alien queen and I stood side by side, ready to face the galaxy together, bound by more than duty, more than circumstance, but by the fiery testament of courage, sacrifice, and the declaration of her heart. You're my husband now.